Hello. Hello. Nice to see you. It is good to be back. It feels like a very long time since I have streamed, so I hope you haven't forgotten me. Right. Lots of stuff. Amazing. Nate, Omar, Alnai. This is amazing. Great. Not meaning to leave you out, Josper. Okay. Good stuff. So, recommended place to build a fetch wrapper. I would do it in a composable, probably. Really, thanks. That's very kind. So, lots of stuff coming up. Lots of good stuff for Nuxt. This is definitely a week you're going to want to check out. If you haven't gone, I would definitely go to nuxtnation.com and sign up. There'll be stuff happening there. I don't want to give anything away. Hey, I'm probably going to give everything away, but that's definitely something to check out. And yeah, Tom, it has been ages. It has been ages. So I'm back. I'm back. Briefly. And then I'm going next week. I'm away again. I'm going to be going to Japan, which will be super cool, but will also put a stop to my streaming. So, this is a pain. This is Nuxt 2 branch, and it's having, let's see, some kind of issue in CI in Node. Interesting. Hey, thank you, Jacko. Okay. That's such a pain. It's all about, it's not anything to do with Nuxt, it's about nodes changing SSL behavior between node 16 and 18. That's not a priority anyway. Okay. Nuxt image is something I would like to see up and running for, I think we can just merge this straight away. It was something I would like to see up and running because we're hoping to release it today or tomorrow. So I'm just going to check a few issues there, bugs, and see if we can resolve them. If they exist, this is an upstream issue, I think. Okay. And yeah, that's a long time ago, but we need to do that. Why can't the browser display images correctly? Yeah, reproduction, please. Ace, hey, Solomon. Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah, we need some triage of these issues. Right. Okay, so we've got a couple of things. We have Nuxt image, we have Nuxt, and yeah, we have some issues that we'll probably want to resolve and merge some stuff. You did hear triage, Alex. Nice to see you. Alex is streaming later today, I think, at 8 p.m. or so. So we'll probably have a nice little handover. Oh, I hope I'm done before then. Okay, so that's my personal website. That's Nuxt 2. Here's Nuxt. Okay, I want to do a couple of things. Here's one. Nuxt Link. I want to enable it, make it possible for us to add some options in configuration so that we can tree shake things like resolve trailing slash behavior if it's not required. That is one thing that I would like to do. Interesting. I think we can actually move this out. I see. We can't. Okay. Oh, tomorrow I think I must have missed the key point there, the exact date of that. Okay, so there are a couple of issues floating around in Nuxt land. So here's one of them to do today. So this is going to be a markdown file. So we have one async data payload caching behavior. And there are a couple of open PRs related to this. So we have got this one here. Sorry, not that one. This one, and this one, and this one. Okay, so these three are all related to async data, and in particular how the cache is resolved and the behavior works. So I'll explain a little bit about what they do and what we can do to improve it. Okay, so basically we have the situation. Hey, Ben, and associated folk, welcome. It is our pleasure to have you here. Yeah, hi. And what have you been doing? What is the yeah, we're building Nuxt. We're building Nuxt. You, important you is an important difference. But goodness, these are people, you are people I know. Pilcrow, hello. Good to see you. Like, nice. You are lovely folk. So what have you been talking about? What have you been building? What have you been investigating? I mean, it's obviously all been on a whiteboard. So, you know, there is that. When was the last time I was on? He is in a meeting. Someone's in a meeting. I very much hope I'm not in a meeting. Oh, Lucia and Clark. Lovely. Hey, Mehmet. Good to see you. Oh, that would be so nice. I'm very, very excited about the new primitives you've put out there. So if you haven't seen it, we basically have, let's see. We basically have, come on, Oslo. Some very nice new utilities. We have cookie parsing, encoding, OAuth to help us. These are just amazing. Like, this is going to be useful for everybody in pretty much any project. So, am I sick? Because I have this. I'm not sick. It is just cold. So this is, for some reason, the weather has just suddenly turned extremely cold, and so I could put the fire on, but I have decided instead to save the planet by having a scarf on. I think there are a few things as quite as nice and warming and comforting as wearing a scarf, but I don't know, if you think I'm basically being an old man because I've got a scarf on, then I do apologize. But yeah, check out Oslo. It looks amazing. Okay. I am going to Google this person and find out who they are. A GitHub user. Okay. I'm going to have to obviously research that. I should wear a hat. I am not sure what to make of that, but I could wear a hat, but I won't be wearing a hat, I don't think, for the stream, unless it gets very, very cold. I will check him out. Thank you. Okay, so basically we're so early on that, and I have a couple of things that I'd like to do, but actually I'm very flexible. So if anyone has any issues or things they would value someone investigating on, particularly with related to Nuxt, I am always happy to do that. So here are a couple of things, though, that I think would be useful. So defining defaults for Nuxt links and data fetching. And okay, and we also have, let's see, one more that I think is pretty essential that we handle. That is, what's happening with this upstream issue, Alex? I will totally check him out. Well, it would be nice to merge that, but we'll see. Nightly, Oh, you mean the edge release channel? Is that what you mean, Tom? You're talking about the edge release channel? The edge releases that we have, Nuxt edge releases? That's that what you're referring to? If everyone who's wondering what Tom is referring to, we actually recently merged, we changed the per commit releases in Nuxt to close preview to nightly releases. So we have a nightly release channel, which is, for goodness sake, Algolia hasn't updated the index yet. We have something called the nightly release channel, which is used to be called the edge channel, which was confusing because of edge, the everything else, the browser, the sort of region, sort of like in a deployment setting, etc. And so we now use Nuxt nightly instead of Nuxt 3, which means we have a forward compatible package when we move to Nuxt 4, for example. So yes, well, welcome, Dax. Nice to see you. Pleasure to have you. So you can always check out the nightly release channel if you want. The key thing, of course, is that it is not anymore an edge release channel. Let's see. Oh yes, and this is one of the most exciting bits of the things that I want to check out here, which is client components. In other words, this is deep interactivity for Nuxt server components. Let's see. Okay. That one. Okay, so we've got a couple of things to discuss. And Tina, good to have you here. And Holoden. So if we, let's see. I think this one will be one of the easiest just to show off to start with. So let's switch and check this one out. Okay, so we've got our PR here. I think I merged it relatively recently. Eduardo, good to see you. Eduardo has a course coming out. Has it just come out, or is it GitHub CLI? Oh, it's beautiful. It's so nice. Just checks out the PR, updates the remote, etc., etc., etc. Is there a floating loading indicator on screen? Don't think so. Where is the floating loading indicator? Where do you see it? Huh. Oh, I see. Yes, it is there. Okay, let's just hide that. There we go. Loading indicator gone. That was in case if I had a guest start, like if someone else was joining me, they would have a little picture over there. But I guess nobody else is on stream. So Reaper, good to see you. Okay, so we have got this PR checked out, and so I'm just going to open the playground. So we have a very, very basic playground here, and we need to enable it with component islands. And we are going to enable local component islands and not remote ones. And let's start the playground and just test this. So we've got our playground and console. Everything is up and running. Great. Let's create a component island to start with. So we'll have a components, and we'll have some server component. This, and we'll fire in some stuff, some server component, and we will stick that in our app here. Okay, so we should now have a server component. Great, it's loading in. Tony, yes, there are so many nice folk around. Okay, so we have a server component. Now, this particular PR allows us to have client-only components by marking them with Nuxt client. So if we were to do something like this, let's create a client-only component, some interactive There we go. And it's going to have a button, click me, and it's going to have, I don't know, some state, and the state is just going to be a ref. And when we click it, we're going to increment it. So at click, state, there we go. So we've got our some interactive component, and we'll stick it in here, some interactive, and we will give it this Nuxt client attribute. And let's give this a try. Okay, not quite. Nuxt client. Well, let's just first restart it. This, I know, I don't think it works like Astro. Okay, some interactive. But I couldn't actually explicitly tell you. Okay, some interactive. Yeah. I strongly suspect this will work when built. Okay, so what are we doing here? Let's check the PR. Typed roots? Well, that's a very good question. And given that Eduardo is here, I think it's to do with API, and it's also to do with the fact that at the moment unplugin is pretty much in development. We're talking about unplugin. I've reset my browser, which annoyingly means all my sort of search history is gone. It's one of the things I love about Firefox, that your prompts in your omnibar are saved and synced across your devices, which means it's very easy to find things that you've accessed previously. So let's see. Try to pop some interactive in here. Let's try that once more. Okay. Well, unsurprisingly, that's working fine. It's this bit that isn't. Yeah. Ooh. No, this is fine. The thing that doesn't sync is this, the searching. So everything else syncs fine. So my sidebar syncs fine. It's that's not the thing. So if I look for, let's see, it's enabled. That's not the issue. They're syncing these things, but I want to sync the history. Yeah, I want to sync the search cache. Okay, so we're getting an error when we try and import it, and the issue is that we can't. This is probably an easy thing. Okay, so let's see what this is trying to import specifically. It's Dino, please. Okay. So it's probably. I do love Arc. It is great. Yeah. The main issue in terms with the unplugin is the fact that Nuxt supports changing and adding routes at runtime, at build time by modules. So it's not enough to just say to the unplugin that it needs to be able to sort of scan directories. I think that's one of the that's the tricky thing. And we also support setting metadata and things like roots within page meta. So not just in the, as in it requires deep compiler integration. So it would need to talk very deeply with Nuxt in terms of the information on the root. But I mean, obviously, if we can do that, it would be great to make it in one place rather than duplicating it in more than one place, which is a pain. Okay, so we need, in this case, I'm just going to have to debug this. I haven't checked this PR before. So we want to see what this is. What is failing to load? Or is it just Vite telling me that it can't be analyzed? Okay, that's fine, I guess. So we would just say this. But what is it? Because it's obviously failing somehow. Okay, maybe that's not failing. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, we're getting just nothing in this particular server component. So why might that be? Have I commented it out? No. Hey. Yeah, the removal of reactivity transform. Yeah, that exactly, because the view removed it. So we haven't yet removed it. I think we still have the option. So what we know is that upcoming in view 3.4, this is going to go away, but there is actually an exit route, which is that you can move to view macros. So what we could do is consider making that possible with Nuxt, or we could help you migrate, either way. But in general, experimental, it will either indicate that the API might change in Nuxt, or it will indicate that it is an experiment. We might move to using a namespace like future for things that we do plan to include in core. Okay, some server component. Let's pull this out. Okay, so now it's rendering it just fine. Okay, so where is it failing? So we've got this. Sorry, this might be boring. Okay, somehow we are loading a component. It's happening in this Nuxt island, and we have. Yeah. The font is called Dank Mono, and you can see a little bit more about it and a link on that page in my website. Okay, so let's see. No problem. This is really strange because we very much have this working in the PR, I guess. We've got an example of a server component. With an interactive client component. Okay, Julian, exactly, you are here. So this is what we've got. I thought I would check out the PR and test to see what's going on. So we've enabled component islands local. We have put a server component in, which looks like this. And we have a normal client component. The client component, so if we just render this page, stuff works. So we've got our server component being loaded. If we enable the interactive, okay, let's enable the interactive component without any kind of interactivity, and it renders but isn't interactive as we expect. And if we add interactivity, then it doesn't load at all. Basically, we get a 500 error when we hit that endpoint. And I'll just we'll grab the endpoint in a second. So if we re-enable it, we have this is our endpoint. Okay, so we can hit that directly. Saves the... Okay, so that's our endpoint. And we're getting our error, which says... What does it actually say? Syntax error here. I wonder if the issue is something to do with DevTools. Let's try that in a second. DevTools false. That definitely changed the error. Okay. We still have a compiler error. So okay, well, I think this is the most helpful thing. So the error is coming in from the Vue compiler, and we're basically just not able to parse it, which means that I think there's been a transform that has taken place. It's not DevTools related, I think, but there's something that's happened. And okay, let's find out what that is. So we have got a transform, I think, being injected here, island transform, and that's probably what's going on. That's probably what the issue is, rather. So what we'll do is just log out the transformed content, because we'll probably be able to spot it faster. Okay. Yeah, that sounds very plausible. Very plausible. Let's see. Oh, hi. Okay, so we've got some code. This is the code. Let's just pop it in there and replace n. Aha. Yeah, that definitely looks like the issue. So we've got... Yeah, we're basically... Oh, it's the self-closing. Okay, so if we go back to our server component and we don't self-close it, but we do some interactive like that. Let's try. Okay. See if that makes a difference. Oh, it won't make a difference because we are... It should make a difference. Okay, so what's now it coming out with? Okay, this is more right. Okay, but basically we somehow still have a duplicate thing. And it sort of is overwriting in the wrong place. Again, this is a simple issue because I think it's probably just to do with an index. I'll tell you what it is. I will tell you because okay, can anyone guess what it is? I bet I can fix the issue and then fix the issue. So I think if I remove the script block here, then it will work fine. How about that? Ta-da! Okay, so the reason is it's the starting index is not quite right. Let's see. So the starting index is the index of the code, sorry, of the template. But when I bet we need to do this. Okay. Okay, let's give that a try. Hello, Roaring Tenty. Let's see if this works. Oops. What have I done? Okay, why is that not working? Because it looks to me like that is correct, but oh, if it was not clear, my cat just came and said hello to me. Let's see. This looks right. So now that is correct. That's the right code. But we're still, the issue is that now we're passing some kind of, the issue is now that it's passing a slot in, right? So let's just remove that back to here. Okay, great. So it's working fine. So, all right. So the issue is here. Resolved. So fix pass starting index to teleport component insertion. And I think we do need to ignore the chunk source. Right. Okay, let's see now with those very, very quick fixes. If but this is so normal that when basically if you always do something like put the script block last, then you'll never notice something like this. And then the moment someone else comes in and has a slightly different pattern of doing things, then obviously everything comes out and you can sort of things break weirdly. Okay, so we're back on track. So what we now have is a server component and a deeply interactive, like interactive component that's within it, and that is working very nicely, right? So if we now let's just enable DevTools and confirm that things still work, because that could be another thing that might break. Okay, there is actually a hydration mismatch, which is probably because things still work, but the issue is probably that when we render the page, it is coming back with DevTools stuff, but we probably aren't. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's have a look. It's probably to do with the data v inspector elements that are being inserted. Come on, Nels. Does everybody want to see this cat? This is a different cat from my normal. Often it's Barley who is coming to visit me. But in this case, it is Lily. Okay, so what is coming back from the initial HTML render? Ugh. Okay, so we've got, I do have a lot of visitors. Okay, so we have, so yeah, in terms of Vapor, I think it's too early to answer that question. Depends, really. Okay, you think it's about the import. So what we've got, let's just compare the two here. So we have two comments, and then the name, the Nuxt SSR. I see. Okay. Next is our component ID, some server component. Interesting. Okay, so nothing is then being run. Oh, well, that's is that what we expect? We expect that. Interesting. Okay, so if I turn DevTools off again, and we just have a quick look at what is rendered here. Yeah, this is what we yeah, okay, so this is the difference. So with DevTools, and yeah, you're right, it's probably the Regex, because with DevTools, like so at this point we have our interactive component and it has contents, but here with DevTools on, it doesn't have contents. So it just ends. And then this teleport isn't being picked up. So let's see. If we take a look at our code, so what are we looking for? Which regex is it? Okay, next core runtime nitro. And we have a we're talking about the renderer. We have replace client teleport. Oh, I see. And basically it's assuming that it's going to be right next to each other, but we don't have that with the server component. Okay, so we can basically the issue, I guess, is we have to assume, we can't assume that we have any. Okay. Hey Rad, nice to see you. So this is the regex, right? So we've got our div Nuxt SSR component. And it's always going to be a div, is it? So the issue, I guess, is that it just shouldn't end. So if we have our new regex, oops, it should just be not that. Okay, let's see if that's going to fix it. Whoa, thank you, Tina. Let's hit it again. Okay, that's not good enough. Do we need to do this? Later? Oh, there's another location. Okay, I see. So we need to do it here, and we also need to do it here. Let's try that. Beautiful. Okay. So let's commit that as well. Beautiful. Okay, so we can push that up as well. Cool. Great. Okay, so this is going to be I think this is going to be a really nice feature because you can basically at any point. Let's see. Let's just try another component, some other interactive, and this one is going to be interactive. This one isn't, but we're going to put this here. This will probably not work, but I'm just wanting to test it. Yeah, it presumably has to be directly within the server component in order to make it interactive. Because I guess if this one isn't interactive, then the other one isn't either. But if we make instead this one interactive at the top layer, they should both be. Yeah, exactly. As expected. Okay, let's see what happens when we build the project, because this is one of the things that we have to get right. So there should not be a downside to this. Okay, so let's just do a very quick output public 736. If we disable component islands and we do the same, it is indeed. Let's see. What do I want to test? I want to actually know if, well, let's just take a look at this. So we have our client interactivity going on. Let's just have a look at our actual output. Oh, this is something I'll often do. Vite. Oh, where is it? Is this not here? It's very strange. Maybe it's just because it's the anyway. What I want to do is Vite build minify is false. Let's try that. Okay, and we'll take a look at what we generate. So we've got our entry, which has some interactive, and let's just see, it should have some interactive and some other interactive. And then we have a server component, which is basically doesn't contain anything of the server component here. So this should never be in our actual build, which is all correct and good. How about if we have some unused component? Let's pop that there, and we'll build it again. Okay, it's not showing up, which is excellent. So it is still based on usage. But it seems to me that at the moment we are putting every server component, every client component that is used in any server component in the final build. Is that right? I have a cat here who's demanding to be petted. So, sorry if we wanted to actually make any progress on the PR or anything like that. I'm afraid it is. I'm afraid the cat is doing that. You thought I was purring. Okay. 100 tabs. That is correct. I wonder if she wants to be let out of the room. Okay, so where were we? This is just compiled code. So I think at the moment, let's just try this again. So this is our app. If I made that an index, and we then maybe had a different one, and this one was, let's see, had... Sorry about this. And this one had some other interactive in it. Okay. Oh dear, it's all going wrong. Right, Lils, you're going to need to come into my lap right now, because otherwise we're going to be in trouble. So... see what happens when we build this. Okay, so what we have here, interestingly, so we have our server component, our single server component, interesting, which presumably contains a lot of things used by Vue itself. Like, I'm guessing these are going to be in our build anyway. We also then have our index, and our index copy. Let's just check we don't have. So it is rightly. Oh, some other interactive. We want to know where that's going. So I think this is probably going to end up in our entry or index. Yeah, interesting. So basically it's getting added to our main. So what I would have liked is some other interactive only to end up in the index copy. But in fact, it is all being added to the main chunk. That's the main issue I'm experiencing. If you're in the API route, use route isn't going to work. You're going to want to instead use event path. or get route param event ID, something like that. Basically, in a Nuxt app, you have the view part of your application, which is in pages and so on, and it has access to view composables like use router. But if you're in your server folder, it doesn't have access to that. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have access to that. View hasn't even been run. There's view router isn't initialized. Like, you don't have that, which that's good because it saves performance. You don't need any of that if you're just returning JSON. So you use different utilities, and it should be pretty clear if you're looking in the documentation which ones you can use or not use. But you can have a try. Okay, so this is my one question. If it's possible to do like, this isn't a reason not to merge the PR, but this is a potential fix, I think, that we might want to enable. Right. The other thing, of course, is that this doesn't make a difference to anything if you are not using server components. Like, this is only if you're using server components that this makes a difference to you. So, as a result, hey, Esteban. Good to have you here. Props, teleports, and chunks. Yeah, let's see what it actually looks like if we make the specific request. Oops. Oh, what happened? Hey, nice to see you. Are you Qubit? Is that what I'm seeing with your Twitch account handle? Qubit, but Cubizzle is my guess. Yes. Amazing. I'm clearly a detective, natural born detective. It's really nice to see you. And yeah, nice to have you up here. Okay. I thought we had fixed this. Okay, we've got some interesting. What's going on? What is going on? I thought everything was working beautifully. Oh, it's because we have view router now. Okay, so that is definitely something we hadn't tested before. Okay, so we have got an issue with. This is presumably returning a 404. Oh, for some reason I commented that out. I don't know why that was. Okay, no wonder this wasn't working. Let's try that once more. It seems fine. Excellent. Okay, it's all nothing to worry about. Good. Yeah, good. This is fine. Beautiful. This is a very exciting PR. Anyway, other people should check it out, have a look, see if there's anything you think we need to fix. Otherwise, we'll almost certainly be merging it in, and I'll be doing a little bit more thorough of a review. Okay, so enough for now of that. Let's go back to some of my other lists. The cat wants to leave. I think she's probably worried about that little crying voice. I'll be back in a sec. Okay. No, the cat wasn't making any noise. The cat was looking at me. I think because she wanted to go. Okay, so let's see. We want to have a look at async data, payload, and caching behavior. Okay, let me think about this. So does anyone have anything they want me to cover first? Because we're at like a turning point. If you've got a bug, if you've got something that you think would be helpful to chat about, please say. You've got a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds rather. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that another time. Okay, async data, payload, and caching behavior. I would like to cover this for okay, let's just confirm that everything is what we expect. Good. I might trigger a release on this so I can test it a little bit later with my own website. Okay, we've got the 3 payload caching behavior PRs that I mentioned earlier, which are actually already here. So we've got use Nuxt data and use async data, has cached data, and let's see, have I already merged? Yes. So I just merged earlier today the, hey, thanks, Nuxt. I merged earlier today the ability to set deep false for data composables, which can significantly improve performance if you're doing something like having a global, having like Nuxt content or something, like huge objects in your payload. This means it won't track the whole object. It will only track whether or not it's been replaced. So you can't then mutate deep within it and expect changes to be applied in your site, which in most cases you don't want to do anyway. Okay, these things are all slightly related, but mostly I now have to refactor them because I have to merge these changes in. So we've got this one. How has cache data is determined. That needs a test. This also, okay, I think this is the simplest one to progress with straight away. So we're going to check this one out. And yeah, shallow ref is almost always, so basically this is what shallow ref does. So imagine you have a ref, and it has an array, and in that array there's an object, and the object has an ID. Okay, and we want to basically say data ID. Okay, so we're accessing that there, and now we're going to just quickly load that in our playground and fire it up. Hey, goodness, Qubit, that's really kind. Thank you. So basically we have this, and we can actually set that as well. So we could do something like this. Okay, and if we do that in the browser, it is going to be deeply reactive. Okay, so if we now make that a shallow ref, it isn't. So now if it's a shallow ref, it is just going to behave like a normal object unless you replace the entire thing. So in this case, we are going to set A to be this, like an entirely fresh thing. And if we do that, it is now going to work because we are, goodness me, thank you. So if you're doing this, you'll basically replace the entire object, and so it's going to trigger reactivity. But if you just replace an individual thing with somewhere within it, it's not tracked. It doesn't matter. And so obviously everything that you are tracking makes a difference for view. So if you have a look at, say, Nuxt.com, and you were to look at the actual content of this, so if I were to just say request the website and copy it to the clipboard, and then just have a look at it in our VS Code. So we're just going to format that. And so this is the content of Nuxt.com. Now, it has a huge payload. Actually, I should do it this way. So if you were to do use Nuxt app and grab the payload and have a look here. So the payload at this point has like data, and it only has 2 items in the data. But this one, for example, the list of modules is an array of 320 modules, which honestly should not be loaded on the home page, but that is a separate issue. If we were to copy that object and just paste it here, okay, so this is 23,000 lines of code tracking all of the different modules that are available in the Nuxt ecosystem. And again, it shouldn't be loaded on the home page. I have no idea where it is, but we will leave that for another day. But what you don't want to do is deeply track the reactivity of that object. It is much more performant if you use a shallow ref, because really this website doesn't care about this username changing deep within here, right? All it cares about is whether or not the entire modules array is replaced or not. This will be less relevant, by the way, this particular site. So yeah, so shallow, sorry. All of that is to say, shallow ref, it is a really good thing, and you're probably going to want to enable it on your website. And in fact, I think I will probably want to make it default in future, like in Nuxt 4, because that would be a breaking change if you're relying on interactivity. But I think we would want to make it default. To be shallow, that is. So what are we saying? So I have to refactor this PR. This one. This one. Okay. I think I already checked it out. Is that correct? Yes, I think so. And let's remove that. And what did I want? I wanted a regression test. Okay, so we have 2 issues. And this issue was that if we use next data before use fetch, then it prevents a request to the API. Okay, that seems like something we could test. So go back to main. Let's go to our composables test, and we should have something here like use fetch. Okay. And I think we'll test this with use next data. Interesting. Okay, so what we want is to, it should be usable after use Nuxt data call. And so we would get something like this. And then we would, let's see, let resolved, await, use async data. Let's just try that. I think this is more of the issue. Okay. Okay, so what we would expect here is I'm just going to use you want to see this thing? It is T. It is T. I will tell you that. It is. There's nothing else going on there. Okay, so I just want to see what these things look like. So we're going to use inline snapshots, and we want data.value also to match inline snapshot. Let's give this a go. Oh, right. Let's give that a go. Okay, so we see what these things are. Okay, Nuxt data is also a ref, it looks like. Let's try this one more time. Oh, no, it's not. It's reactive, I guess. Okay, so this is the bug, right? So the bug is that Nuxt data is not updated even after use async data is. Okay, so that's our bug, which means we can now, I think the test therefore is reproducing it. So if we then head back to our PR, which purports to fix it, we should now be able to test whether it does. So let's just pull it out. Here. Let's give it a test. Interesting. It doesn't fix it. It seems. Let's try. We also want to clear Nuxt data. So I can add some. Try this once more. Okay, let's just confirm that that was also. Oops. Hey, never mind. Okay, this isn't actually reproducing the problem then. Okay, so what is the bug? Use it before on client side prevents request to API. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, this is if specifically we have server false. Okay, let's try that. clearly that's not enough. It might be we're not able to reproduce this within the this particular environment, but don't think so. This is puzzling. So this is definitely the issue that was being described. So let's just try it in the playground to see if we can actually reproduce it. Okay, so if we have a playground here, so we can, let's try it with use async data in exactly the same way as we've been doing here. And let's access the data in exactly the same way as we've been doing here. Okay. And let's load that page in the browser. Okay, it's showing it loading. Okay, so maybe the issue is not the data. Maybe the issue is the pending. So if we just displayed pending and data down here. Interesting. So interesting. Okay, so basically, this is very weird. Yeah, so it does fetch. Does it fetch them? Okay. It does. Never mind, if you can be a little bit clearer about what you want. how do you resolve whether the parameter is a filter, for example, or a skin name? Is it clear from the URL? Like, is one a number and another a string? Or do you have to perform an API call to find out? Yeah. You can do it with in a middleware by actually manipulating the router and adding a route. So although there's an issue open at the moment with someone having a problem with it, you could still possibly borrow some of what they're doing in order to make what you want to achieve work. Okay, so this does accurately reproduce the issue. And it probably reproduces the issue because we have this already set to null, I guess. Let's see if I can use that to reproduce the issue here. So if I basically said, but it's if we do this, so use Nuxt app, payload data call equals null. Let's try that. See if we can then. Nope. So this is definitely an interesting situation, and I think it's somehow more to do with the test environment than it is to do with the actual. So to do make this test regress. But we probably can add a test that works correctly in the PR, right? So if we went back to our PR, sorry, it's dank mono, and you can find it here, and with a link to it. Okay, let's give it a try, because I'm expecting this is going to solve the issue. And if it does solve the issue, let's create an end-to-end test that handles it. No problem. I hope you like it. Yeah, so that's fine. So let's just pull this into an end-to-end test. So we're going to copy it into test, fixtures, basic. Let's see, we should have a page, and we should have something that's use async data. Okay, we'll pop it in there. So we'll come on into use async data, and we'll say what are we going to call it? So we'll basically say data resolved. We want it to be, we can just say data, I guess, and it should be resolved true. it works after use Nuxt data call. And we're going to fetch that and Nuxt data, and we expect it to contain resolved true. Okay. And that should work, we would think. Let's delete that. I would say test, add regression test. Let's just pop into our main branch. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay. I'm going to pop into our main branch, git/pop, and run our test. Just confirm it doesn't work. Yep, doesn't work. Okay, let's go back to our thing. Is that so? Is that so, Reaper? You're tantalizing us. What could it possibly be? Not Nuxt Preact Islands, I guess. Surely not. Who can say? Who can say? It's a mystery. Actually, our thing here is wrong. So use Nuxt data. We actually need to do this with a page, not with a... There we go. Nobody knows. You basically make the most amazing things in, but nobody knows. That's a terrible thing. Like, we need to give you more coverage for sure in terms of some of the stuff that you're creating. Do you want to share a link? Do you have something? Okay. Right. Okay, so let's assume that that's going to pass in a moment. I'm Mike. Hi, hello. Nice to have you here. Oh, what's going on? This is probably a flaky test. Oh no, it's irrelevant. It's to do with our website. The fact that there's some link that's not working, but it shouldn't fail this particular PR. In fact, I think the link checker that we have shouldn't run on PRs because it's not actually checking the PR branch, it's checking the main website. Oh, I think we have to await that. And let's just run only this one, please. Hey, Hal, nice to see you. Okay, yeah, that fixes it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that one looks good to me. That's a pretty straightforward PR, I think. What we now need to do is update this one. Where we sync, use Nuxt data, and use async data. And it says, okay, this basically uses, this keeps them in sync. We also have this this one from Dario, which actually the description is a little bit inaccurate now. This feat allow passing custom store to data fetchers. This basically allows us to set where the data is going to be resolved from. So at the moment, it's resolved from the payload if we are hydrating. Otherwise, Nuxt static. And like that's how cache data is calculated. So we need a way to allow people to customize that, or we cannot have a way to allow people to customize that. So static data is set here, and it is set here. Yeah. This seems like a perfectly safe PR to make. The only question is about the API. So basically the situation is that data store allows you to, or this option, whatever we call it, is going to allow you to set the location where async data is stored. So if you're using useFetch or use async data, where is it coming from? And that's what this that's what this governs for us. So what we want to be able to do I was expecting this. So both of those can make it in, and both of those, and both of those. Okay, those are fine. And then in here, again, probably we want to do the same as that. And here we want both and both. Lovely. So I think that's pretty straightforward. Let's just compare very quickly. Have we merged it well? Yeah, it looks pretty accurate. As in it's matching between the two of them. So we've done our merge correctly. Good, good. Okay. So we now need to evaluate the API. So I think the API isn't quite right. I don't like, this was what I suggested, but data store isn't quite right. Maybe something like data, or maybe we could even call it get cached data. I think that might even be better because that is actually what it is. So instead of calling it data store, let's call it get cached data. And it looks to me like it's only used in the locations where we used it. So cool. And I think we can also let's rename this just to get default cached data. I think that all looks good to me. Alex, what do you think? Sure. Okay, so now we need to probably add a test for it, and we can do that in our composables. And we have use async data. We'll stick it in here. It allows custom access to a cache. And we would do something like this. Const data equals await use async data. And we're going to pass val is true. And then we have an option, which is, yeah, there we go. Expect data.value to great. Okay, and we also need, I think, to update the documentation because this is not accurate anymore. So let's see. What will we call it? A function that can return cached data. For example, So that seems to me to be a reasonable update. Wait a second. This must, yeah, deep exists. Okay, this looks like a good PR to me. I like it. And it is actually quite powerful. So in particular, because it actually enables us to have a custom cache for use async data. Where did I put it? Yes, oh, I hate it. Okay. Cool. So this adds support for custom caching within Nuxt, within use async data and use fetch. It works by providing a get cached data function via the options, which receives a key and must return cached and can return if it exists. For example, to restore the previous behavior, to make all requests cached by default, the following plugin could be used. Export default, define Nuxt plugin, Nuxt app. Maybe we should add this to the docs as well, but let's see. We would do something like Nuxt. The following options could be used. So we would do something like const data equals await use async data. Fetcher. Get cached data would then be hey, see you, Alex. Would love your review of it, though, Alex. Do get back to me about that. Okay, so looks like a type error. Let's see. Oh. It's the issue here that I have told it that get touch data. Oh, I see. It has to return default T or null. Does that solve it? No. Oh, default T or res. Data T. Okay, what's the issue here? Oh, I see. Because it needs to be a promise. Well, let's say it can be. Oh, I see. It's saying it should be void, but it's not. I think it's a type error. It shouldn't be void. It should be, it always returns the data. I think the fact that this was any before was throwing up the error, right? So this should be, I think it should be this. Okay. Okay, we have, oh, we also need to await it now. There's lots of type errors. Well, this is all very good actually, because okay, let's not make it return a promise for now. We can always add that later. We'll just say data T. We'll just say data T. So then we should be fine here, but we need to do some stuff. So this needs to, At what point do we return? Undefined. There we go. It's not actually returning res-t, it should return data-t, I think. Hey Dario, you have appeared. You have appeared. Quite rightly. Have you been seeing the changes? We're working on your PR at the moment, but I'm afraid it is. I'm doing more. Like it feels like this is some there's quite a few fixes to other things in the. Okay. These are not fixes with your PR. These are fixes with Nuxt's use async data implementation, which when we improved the types in this PR, we uncovered bugs in Nuxt types, internal types, which are now hopefully fixed. I should probably just quickly test that before pushing. Exactly, you've sent me down a rabbit hole, but a very good rabbit hole. So I'm totally happy. And this is actually turning out to be a very, very useful PR. So. This is not as bad as it looks. In fact, all of those can be ignored. Let's see. Okay, that all seems good. Types are passing. We're able to build a project, and we have updated it one more time. So let's just do a final review. Qubit, you have hit me deep to the heart. It would. That would be very nice. Actually, a lot of these issues are for Nuxt 2. And will be closed, obviously, when it comes to the end of its particular. But yes, it is so. Remove comma and it is the way. It is the way. This is what we must do. I mean, I'm very happy there is good progress on them, but it's true. Okay, Dario, very nice. I like it. Okay, so I think we now have a couple of other things. There's this one. Sync, use Nuxt data, and use async data. This is, I think, also a good PR, but it needs to be done after I bet these would have been better tests. For the earlier one that we looked at. Right, I must go, actually. I think it's getting a little bit late, but it has been a real pleasure to spend some time with everyone. Thank you for joining me as we've dived into some of these things. And yes, tune in a little bit later on. Yeah. Sorry, Duspa, it's just a little bit too late. I would... You're talking about a different server directory? It's totally your call. Yeah, up to you. And hey, Fatih, nice to see you. Okay, everyone, I will... oh, yes, we should probably go to somebody else. And I think Matteo Collina is streaming. So maybe I will suggest we go join him. If you're up for it. He's definitely a nice guy. Okay, see you later. And yeah, have a great day. And I'll be streaming again later this week, I think. Maybe even tomorrow. So see you later.